KPBS On Demand is supported by UC San Diego Park and Market in the heart of downtown San Diego, offering a flexible venue for meetings, conferences, and events of all sizes. Cityscape views, modern space, built-in AV, on-site staff, and no catering requirements. Details at parkandmarket.ucsd.edu.
Welcome in San Diego. It's Jade Hindman. On today's show, A Little Bit Bad is a murder mystery novel set against the backdrop of San Diego. Hear from the author, Cassandra Neyenesch. This is KPBS Midday Edition, connecting our communities through conversation. Okay, so it's been, about that time of year to get your summer reading list dialed in. You'll definitely want to have that for the beach. And here's one idea, a new novel called A Little Bit Bad. It features a love affair and a murder all set in San Diego. And it was recently named one of the best books to read last month by the Los Angeles Times. I'm joined now by Cassandra Neyenesch, author of A Little Bit Bad. Cassandra, welcome to Midday Edition.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
So glad to have you here in studio. Tell me more about A Little Bit Bad.
Okay. Well, so a San Diego woman has a wild affair with her anarcho-Marxist roofer, and it ends in a murder. So the book starts with the murder and goes backwards into the story of their affair.
Wow. So, and you were interested in exploring really a relationship between a woman and a younger man in all of this. What drew you into that dynamic?
Well, a lot of my friends in their 40s and 50s were having relationships with younger men, and I felt like I hadn't seen that portrayed in a way that wasn't kind of creepy and Oedipal, but just as a regular relationship in the same way that we've seen relationships between older men and younger women portrayed.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, this book tells a love story juxtaposed with a murder. So how did you approach blending those two very different kinds of stories?
Well, it wasn't easy. It took me quite a while to figure out the structure, but ultimately I settled on this dual timeline. So alternating chapters, which are in the past, telling the story of their relationship, and in the present after the murder, sort of following that investigation.
I want to dig more into the storyline here, but tell me, why San Diego? Why is it against the backdrop of the finest city in America?
Yes. Well, I grew up in New York, but San Diego is my ancestral homeland. My dad is from here. My mom and dad met in high school here and then went to New York for graduate school. But there's a lot of books set in New York and Brooklyn, and I thought it would be way more fun to set it in San Diego. And then I got to sort of do research because I come out here a lot of times every year and drive around. And then I started getting really into the canyons and how the canyons would be a really good way to escape once you committed a murder so that nobody would see your license plate and write it down. And it just became a really fun project to do every time I was out here. And it was more fun than actually setting it where I live.
Interesting. So where are some of the specific settings you chose?
Well, Linda Vista is where the murder takes place. I think Linda Vista has a very noirish feeling. It's kind of isolated up there. There aren't a lot of shops. And then it's right on Tecolote Canyon, which is one of the bigger ones.
And although the book centers on a murder, the tone of the book, though, it's not altogether dark and gloomy.
I hope not. I hope it's funny. I love funny books. I want to laugh. Yeah. And I think it's a kind of a family thing. In the book, the character says it's the Irish in us. It's like we always laugh when things are even really, really bad. We just can't help it. So I kind of see life that way.
Laugh to keep from crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So you mentioned some of the San Diego research you did for the book. Tell me more about the writing process that you went through.
Well, it was long and tortured, but that's apparently my style. It took me about 10 years, and most of that was settling on the structure because it was just hard to do this. I first started it as a chronological narrative with the murder at the end, and then I realized I was kind of burying the lead. So then I started experimenting with the murder at the beginning and going backwards. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did any of San Diego's own murder mysteries inform your writing at all?
I would say definitely Southern California noir in general. I absolutely love. I love Raymond Chandler. And I love, I don't know, that feeling that like the bright sun is hiding darkness.
I like that. I like that. Like, what do you hope readers will take away from your book and all that?
I mostly just want them to have fun. Yeah. And then if they see themselves, people have told me they see themselves in the character, or the character says things they wouldn't dare say. So I love that.
Of course. Well, though you're not from San Diego, you do have some generational ties to it and its history, because I know this is your ancestral homeland here, home place.
Yeah. My great-grandfather opened Neyenesch Printers in the Coronado Hotel in 1899, and Neyenesch Printers is still here. It's on Kettner. My dad and aunt are not involved in the print shop anymore, but their cousins run the print shop, and I hear it's doing very well. And under a pseudonym, it does appear in the book very briefly as Vestergaard Printers.
Okay. In addition to your writing, you also are the founding director of Abortion Stories. That's an organization that helps people to share their own experiences. Can you tell me more about how you help people to share those stories, even ones which may be quite difficult and painful?
Yeah. It's just an open forum inviting people to tell their stories without judgment or politics, just a safe space with the idea that this is a very personal choice. Everybody's different. Every story is different. And you're the only person who can make this decision. And when we hear other people's stories, it starts to humanize it. And it becomes more clear that this isn't a decision anyone can make for you.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about how people can tell their stories here.
Well, I organize usually open-ended events. So far, they've all been in New York City and one in Raleigh-Durham. But yeah, it's just you can also reach out to me through my website if you want to get involved, which is CassandraNeyenesch.com.
Okay, and of course we'll have that on our website too, kpbs.org, so people can do that. Listen, this is your first novel, but you focused much of your work in journalism, in nonfiction, right? So can you talk a little bit about that side of your writing?
Well, it's been cultural criticism, books and movie reviews and so on. And I think that was an easy way for me to keep a hand in while I was a stay-at-home mom. So yeah, I just short format, and of course I really love books and movies and art. And my mother's an artist, so I did art reviews too.
Mm-hmm. So how do you approach writing a fiction story different from one based on actual, on some real events?
That's a good question. I don't think it's actually that different. I think anything you're writing is going to be your point of view and needs to be approached as an art form, right? So you're editing it to be good rather than, I don't know, I'm not so concerned if it's fictional or non-fictional, or it's just trying to be good.
Yeah. Does your work in cultural criticism impact how you write at all, you think?
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, because there's a lot of descriptions in the book of music. So I was delving into that side of myself that can try to talk about something that doesn't that's not easily discussed with words, which is music, and then try to really dig deep and think about how you can describe music.
Mm-hmm. And tell me more about what's your inspiration? You mentioned true crime, movies, music. Tell me a bit more.
Well, I think my core inspiration is novels. I grew up reading a lot of novels, and I've always wanted to be part of that conversation because I've taken so much from novels, and they've given me so much solace and happiness and laughter. And yeah, if I could do that for somebody else, it would make me really happy.
Yeah, that's great. Your book is it's a murder mystery. So I'm curious what your take is on, how that specific genre has changed over the years. I mean, and maybe that's also influenced this book.
Yeah, for sure. I think that there used to be this sharp divide between literary fiction and quote unquote genre fiction, and that's become blurred, and it's not really important anymore. I kind of learned that from Japanese novelist Haruki Murakami, who played a lot with noir in his literary fiction. I started to realize, you can loosen this whole thing up. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. You can, and then I do love true crime. I got really into true crime over COVID. I was listening to the My Favorite Murder podcast, and they're two comedians who talk about crime, and it made me realize that people would laugh about dark things, and I wasn't alone in that, and it wasn't weird. So that kind of helped free me up to do that.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you've really expanded your consumption of true crime. I hear you talk about podcasts. Is that pretty much what you listen to, true crime podcasts?
No, not only. I mean, for one thing, I feel like I've already heard pretty much every crime that's ever existed. I do love forensic files.
Yes.
I love Law and Order. I listen to podcasts about Law and Order. I think I'm going off true crime a little bit now, but it is such a cornucopia for a writer. It's just you cannot make it up. The absolute bananas behavior and the justifications. That's what I love, how people justify it.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. So, since you do have sort of this blended fiction, nonfiction writing background, are there any real life true crime mysteries that have really piqued your interest and that maybe in some ways inform your writing?
Yes, and now I can bring up Betty Broderick, San Diego's own, which I do talk about in the book. So for those who don't know, she was a housewife who put her husband through medical school and law school, and then pretty much as soon as he started working and getting a good paycheck, he left her for his secretary. And she went over to his house and shot him and the secretary. Then she turned herself in. And one thing I kind of love about that story is she felt it was justified. She went straight to the police and said, I did this. She didn't try to hide it at all. And there's something in that. It's like that simmering anger of like, I did all this stuff. I was such a good girl. I worked so hard. I supported you. I did all these things. And now I'm just thrown away like an old doll. And I'm going to take control of the narrative back again. Now it's my story.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. And you're going to be talking all about this. People get to hear all about your writing and everything at an event that you've got coming up here in San Diego tomorrow at the Book Catapult. Tell me about that.
That's tomorrow night at 7 at the Book Catapult. It's open and free event. It's going to be really fun. We'll have some wine and sparkling water, and we're going to read a little bit and have a discussion, Q&A, with the wonderful Mara Altman, who's a local writer. And I just have to say the Book Catapult is my favorite bookstore in the world. It's such a wonderful community, warm, like you feel the love of books when you go in there, and I'm so excited to be there.
I've been speaking with Cassandra Neyenesch about her new book, A Little Bit Bad. She'll be appearing again at the Book Catapult in South Park tomorrow starting at 7 p.m. And we'll include a link to that on our website at kpbs.org. Cassandra, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.
That's our show for today. I'm your host, Jade Hindman. Thanks for tuning in to Midday Edition. Be sure to have a great day on purpose, everyone.
KPBS On Demand is supported by Alliance San Diego, reminding you to vote early. Return your ballot at any drop box or vote in person at any vote center. And remember, you have the right to vote as long as you're in line on Election Day by 8 p.m. Visit alliancesd.org for more.